You were in my dream on Thursday. It was me, you, and my mom, and something really, 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 really bad happened.
What?
I was going to tell you yesterday. I was like, but I can't
Tell me
bring
right
you.
now.
No.
Tell me.
My mom died, and I was beside
My-
myself, and I looked at you, and I was like, she's gone. And we both broke down. And that was the dream on Thursday. Told you I didn't want to bring you down. Do you want to know how my mom died in my dream? This will lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
She got eaten by an alligator.
You're going to Florida.
I know.
Oh.
Weird. She got eaten by an alligator, and I was like,
An alligator's
and she
a
had
metaphor
left.
for your dad.
We were all three of us were like staying in a hotel room. She left us a note that was like, I'll be out for a walk, something. And she got eaten by an alligator and died. And then I was like beside myself, and then we both started crying.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Secondhand Smut. I'm Paul.
I'm Angela.
And this is Secondhand Smut.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back after the last episode of Pokemon that I know wasn't the best.
It was amazing.
And it hasn't been posted yet, but I'm just going to assume that we probably lost like half our followers.
You're such a freak. Such a freak.
And everyone hated having me talk that much.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It was a curveball that I truly did not see coming.
At least there was that. At least it was a surprise.
Yeah. And the food?
Oh, yeah.
God.
I'm still sick off of it.
Maybe that's also a combination. Like, I ate, maybe that's why I'm also feeling bad. I mean, obviously the antibiotics, but like, I ate so many different things yesterday, too.
Yeah, and I don't think that stuff's good for,
Probably the antibiotics.
It's probably the antibiotics.
Yeah.
But I don't think Actually, I feel like you didn't even eat that much of it yesterday. Like, I kept eating those sour straws and shit.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped eating candy, I think.
Yeah. Stop eating candy.
Well, I fucking bought, like, fake, like, good-for-you Funyuns.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, these can't be that far off. And they're not that far off.
Really?
But they're, like, kind of sickeningly sweet.
Weird.
Isn't that
I don't want a sweet Funyun.
Yeah, it's like the first thing when it touches your tongue is sweet. And then, like,
savory.
Oniony taste.
I guess like a sweet onion, like
it's
a Vidalia
just
onion.
Not what I want.
Have you had those sweet Maui onion chips?
Yeah, those are delicious, and those
God.
I do want. This just wasn't it.
I feel that. I also feel ill.
Yeah. Angela might puke.
Angela might puke.
I'm
gonna try to not because I'll have to throw this microphone stand out of the way.
That'll be fine. Just knock that over. I can set that right back up, you know?
That would be wild.
Oh, my toilet's clean. It'll be clean enough.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Honestly, never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
I can't imagine what you were about to say. I don't care about puking on shit.
Well, I was just gonna say sometimes. No, I'm not gonna say it.
Come on.
No.
I can cut it.
Okay. Sometimes, like when you're getting sick, I'll think about how like dirty. Even if my toilet's always clean, but I'll be like, I'll think about puking in a toilet. It'll help me puke more.
Yeah, I get that. There's something about like the smell of the air between the water and a toilet that like.
Please stop.
It's just such a unique brand and scent that it is like, oh, cool, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Like, if I can
it's like an immediate gag reflex. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Like if I can smell this air, this atmosphere,
yes,
then I should be.
Then I'm gonna be.
I should probably puke.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying, if your toilet is dirty, it's just gonna only
get dirtier. Well, whatever. That's exciting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you want to tell the people why you're on antibiotics?
Oh, I have dermatitis on my face. Well, it's not seborrheic dermatitis. It's a different kind of dermatitis. Yeah. It's just a skin. They're like, we don't know what causes it.
Yeah, she's got a new breed, never seen before. They're really hoping the antibiotics work.
Oh my god, so am I. It's been one day and I feel sick.
And you have
8 weeks.
2 months.
Yeah, I know. God.
And you're going to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be better or worse for your skin, the humidity?
I do not know. There's supposed to be a tropical storm passing over.
Oh, great.
Turn into a hurricane.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but he lives so far out that it's like kind of fun when it happens.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Which we can blurt that out. I don't want to make light of people's heartache and hurricanes.
Well, he lives so far out. That's good. At least he'll be safe.
Yeah. Yes.
Safer.
I will be safe.
Yeah.
He's got a big old generator and shit.
Yeah.
And you know what I'll do? I'll just read.
Yeah. You'll come
I'll
back.
be happy if the power goes out. I'll be so happy if the power goes out. I will read.
I mean, you'll read either way.
Yeah.
You know? What are you going to talk to your dad?
I know. I already got 20 books saved in my library on Kindle Unlimited app. And so when I sign in, when I get my Kindle, it'll transfer right over. I literally can't wait.
Is there an app for your Kindle for your
iPhone? Yes, I got it.
No, but your thing.
What thing?
That we talked about last time, your new book app.
Storygraph?
Yeah.
Can you download apps on Kindle?
I think so.
I don't know shit about Kindle. I've never had
I don't know anything about Kindle, really.
I'd love to download Storygraph on Kindle if I can.
I know that those, like, Kindle Fire things and shit people were buying had apps. They were just like a iPad.
Tablet.
Yeah, tablet.
This is probably just books.
Okay.
It was very cheap. It was $100. It was super cheap.
Well, whatever.
In, the grand scheme of things.
Of books.
So
how much you've spent on real physical books.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Very chill vibes today, which I'm fine with.
Oh, yeah. The noises.
Sorry.
All right.
Are you wearing 2 socks? What is the deal? Are you
I'm wearing long underwear.
Why are you wearing long underwear?
Because it's my favorite thing to wear in the winter around the house.
Really?
Just like a t-shirt and long underwear.
Oh, okay. I have seen you in your long underwear. I do.
I love it.
I do love seeing you in your long underwear.
But then I don't have it in me to take them off to put on pants for something, so I just fucking throw them on.
Nice.
A little tucked in my sock.
Is he wearing leggings?
I'm actually wearing a full cat suit under this.
You are.
I'm a superhero. Didn't you know? I'm Catwoman.
I would pin you for Catwoman.
We've already talked about my body in a latex suit.
I can, if you're comfortable with it, start talking to you about this book.
I'll allow it. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I consent.
Nice. It's because you're so grounded right now.
Yeah, I'm so grounded and calm.
Well, we are doing Pen Pal by J.T. Geissinger. Don't know if that's how you say the last name.
Probably saying that right. Definitely looks like a prison thing.
Sure does.
I was at the very least right about that.
Yep. So, yeah, your guess was super interesting. Do you want to read the back of this book?
Yeah, looks like it's long and I'm going to stumble through it.
It's actually very short, so I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Great. The first letter arrived the day my husband was buried. Perfect timing. Mm-hmm. It was postmarked from the state penitentiary and it contained a single sentence. I'll want you forever if I have to. I'll wait forever if I have to. It was signed by Dante, a man I didn't know. Out of simple curiosity, I wrote back to ask him what exactly he was waiting for. His reply, you. I told the mystery man he had the wrong woman. He said he didn't. I said we. I said we.
I'm sorry. I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard.
Because you love to see me fail.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Compose yourself. I said we'd never met, but he said I was wrong. We went back and forth exchanging letters every week that grew increasingly more intimate. Then one day the letters stopped. When I found out why, it was already too late. Dante was at my doorstep, and nothing on earth could have prepared me for what happened next. So by reading that, you're like, okay, I see where this book's going. Yeah. She's getting letters from a guy in prison. You know, we'll figure out. Yeah. 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 Yep. You have already planted so much doubt and intrigue into me with how you described this. When I'm really excited about something, I can't keep it in. And she doesn't. Yeah. So I've really been trying. This book that we're reading next week, just know that things you'll never twist and turn. That's all I've got for a week. I know. I'm sorry, but I just am passionate about this book. No, it's got me excited. This book has changed me. Genuinely. So wait, give your rating, because I know you are talking it up. This is a 5-star read. I put 25 stars in my review. First 5-star read. Yes. This is a 5-star read. Spice, I want to put at a 3.85. It's not always all about the spice. No, but there's a lot of spice in here, and it's really good. This man has a mouth on him, for sure. All right. My review. This is the best book I've ever read in my entire life. I will never emotionally recover from this. I was definitely in, I don't know what the phase is of my period, but I definitely was a little more emotional when I read this a week ago. So I
I have kept that in mind when I read this review. This is the best book I've ever read in my entire life.
Period goggles? Is that what we...
I might have had period goggles. I will never emotionally recover from this. From the very second I finished it, I have not stopped thinking about it. I think about this book.
This love letter from your past?
I'm gonna put this as my review online. I think about this book all day, every day. Aiden is the most perfect man. He's... Stop, Paul. Aiden is the most perfect man. He's it for me. I'm done and dusted. Okay, I'm like crying. I'm laughing so hard.
Oh my god!
I know.
I love it. I love that.
I didn't realize
you were just like
how crazy that sounded.
Like you were sounding like a certain type of girl.
Yeah, I am. And you want to know something even crazier? Yeah. I finished it Monday afternoon.
Read it again.
Drenched in tears, and immediately had a therapy appointment. And my therapist was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know how to answer that." And told her about the book and was like, "If you don't go buy this book right now," and she went.
I'm dropping out of therapy. Yeah. If you don't do this right now, I'm leaving you. I just know that you don't respect me.
And she like, she's like, so it made it sound like she was going to run to Target like then and go buy it. So yeah. Period goggles may have been a factor in this book. Now that I'm remembering
want to know.
it.
I want your therapist to read it and come back, and I need to know.
I know
what.
I know. Me too. Actually, I don't really want to think about that. Okay, so as I told you earlier, this is going to be a journey, and it's going to be just really a lot of storytelling. And like I said, I will read one entire chapter when we get to the big reveal. So, guys, I gotta put my sleeves up, dude.
I'm settling in.
Settle in. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm ready for this journey. Okay, so we open on Kayla. She lives in a small island off of Washington, outside of Seattle.
Okay, cold.
So it's cold, it's gloomy, it's stormy, it's raining all the time. Kayla is standing over her husband Michael's casket as it's being lowered into the ground. And he's died in some sort of accident. We don't know how. And she is 30 years old. You know, they were married, I think they met when they were like 22, 23.
Okay.
And so she's beside herself. Her husband is dead and gone. And she'll never be happy again. The love of her life is gone.
She'll never emotionally recover.
She'll never you can't help. She'll never emotionally recover from this. I picture that like Tiger King when he's like, "I'll never financially recover." I'll never emotionally recover from this.
This is your Tiger King.
So she saunters home. She gets home. She's like, "How did I even get home?" You know, like I was just driving this entire time. I don't remember how I got here. She gets there and she finds, as she walks in, an envelope on her counter. And she has no clue how it got in her house because her house is locked. And it says "Love" in red letters on it. And it's from Washington State Penitentiary. I don't know how to say that fucking word.
Penitentiary.
Thank you. And she opens it up and it says, "I will wait for you forever," from Dante. And she has absolutely no clue who that person is. She's like, this is insane. But she replies, "Waiting for what?" And she sends it back to him. Gets another letter like 4 days later. Just says "you." And in the corner of the paper, there appears to be like a smudge fingerprint in blood on the paper.
Okay.
She's like, "I'm not going to entertain this anymore. This is just a little too weird. No thanks. I'm depressed. I'm mourning." So she puts the letter in the back of like her underwear drawer and just forgets about it.
But she's saving it.
So
there's something.
Uh-huh.
She's got a tinge.
She didn't throw it away.
She wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So meanwhile, she's living in this really big house on like a few acres on this island off of Seattle. And it's like 4-bedroom. It's 3 baths. It says it's like 5,000 square feet. It's a lot of house for a single woman.
Sounds lovely.
It's a lot of house for just a married couple too, if I'm being honest.
Well, they're probably planning on filling it with children and happiness.
Yes.
What does she look like?
It doesn't really describe.
Okay.
I always just picture
she's
like a 5'5" brunette.
I'm picturing like Kate Siegel.
Yeah. I wouldn't say no to Kate Siegel here at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kate Siegel. Let's picture her.
Okay.
And her house is falling apart now.
Oh.
So, like, there's just rain. It hasn't stopped raining since her husband died.
Was.
And it's been like, I don't know,
Seattle.
maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. So she's got buckets all over. She's like, I gotta get this roof repaired. The lights are flickering everywhere. Even some bulbs have burst in this house. So she's like, obviously this house is falling apart. So I've got to get someone in here. So she calls in a handyman. And he shows up and he looks like a hippie.
Okay.
Like, total pothead. She's like, she can smell the pot. His name's Eddie. He comes in.
Oh, well.
What up? What up, Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie's like, hey, man, I can't fix your roof, but there's clearly shit going wrong. He's like, the roof needs to be repaired. I can't fix it, but I've gone through the entire house and checked like electrical currents. I've checked all this stuff. There seems to be no electrical problems with the house. And she's like, well, that's not true because
what's with these lights?
Shit's been going down.
Oh, is it haunted?
And she tells him, because he looks at her and he's like, this girl's sad. I can tell this girl's sad. And he's just like, are you okay, ma'am? And she's like, my husband just died. And he's like, well, I don't want to be disrespectful, but it seems like you're under a lot of pressure. And, I went through a really traumatic experience and I was seeing things or hearing things when that happened. If you ever want to talk to a therapist, I've got a really good therapist. Here's his number. Give him a call if you ever, or call me. Let me know if you ever want his number.
Yeah.
And you can reach out to this therapist.
Okay.
If you want.
Where is this going?
Oh, you have no fucking clue, Paul.
Don't.
And he's like, I got a number for a good shrink. She's like, all right, thanks. Maybe I'll let you know. Thanks for coming out. She shows him out, goes back into her kitchen, pours herself a glass of wine, and there's another envelope that says love on it on her counter.
Is she hallucinating these?
And in that moment, as she picks up that second letter, every light in her house turns on and then bursts out and shatters. I got chills. I just got goosebumps.
This is about ghosts.
On my entire body. So now we're going to get to chapter 3. We're going to get to this letter. And I'm going to, like I said, there's going to be a lot of reading in this one. So this is the second letter from, well, technically the third. The first one said, I'll wait for you forever. The second one said, you. This is the third one. Dear Kayla, you didn't respond to my last letter, which I understand because you think we've never met. You're wrong. I could bore you with the details, but for now, just trust that I know you. In every way, one person can know another. I know you. I know the sight, the sound, the taste, and the smell of you. I know your darkest darks and your lightest lights. I know your dreams, your nightmares, and every secret you've ever kept hidden, all those nameless desires you never admitted even to yourself. I know the shape of your soul. I know your hands tremble as you read these words, and your heart beats as fast as a hummingbird's wings. I know you want to tear this letter up, and I also know you won't. How I need to touch you, how I need to hear your voice. I can't, of course, because I'm here and you're there. But the distance doesn't make the longing go away. I can still taste your skin. Dante.
Okay.
Kayla is trying to rationalize this in her head. She's a rationalizer. That's a theme in the book. She tries to make sense of everything. She's like, this is just some fucking guy who like must have saw Michael's obituary and thought he could prey on like a young widow, and he's like playing to my emotions. Like, this is just a guy in prison who's trying to get something out of me. And so that's kind of where she leaves it. And she's like, I'm not going to engage with this guy anymore. So she calls a roofer. She calls a few roofers, actually.
Well, it's good.
And she can't get a hold of anybody. No one's returning her calls. And finally she gets a roofer. And he shows up a few days later, and she opens her door, and he's huge. And it's this man. He's on her front door.
That's the roofer?
Mm-hmm. His name's Aiden. So Aiden shows up.
I'm putting theories together. But I'm not going to share them because, as we previously discussed, Angela asked me not to do my fucking thing where I guess the end.
Not because I hate that.
No, but
I love
for
when
this
you guess the end.
specific book because of the twists and turns.
Exactly. I love when you make guesses.
Okay.
I just wanted this one to be a genuine surprise for you and for the listeners.
Yes.
So Aiden shows up on her front door. He's the roofer. He's covered in tattoos. He's like 6'3", brunette, got a beard, very good looking. And she's like, oh, this guy's very good looking. He's a little intimidating. He's very standoffish. He's not doing any niceties, Yeah. Oh, I'm here to. He was just like, you let me in so I can look at your roof, kind of a thing.
Roof, let's go.
They're getting off on the wrong foot, and after he's done his look through or whatever, she was like, "Listen, man, you can speak to me with respect, or you can leave, and I'll get with someone else." And he's like, "I'm sorry, I've had a really rough couple of weeks. Let's start over." They agreed to start over.
My wife just died.
You can't help yourself any more than I can help myself. And so once they make nice with each other, they get a little flirty. She's not meaning to be flirty at all. She's just natural. She's just so natural.
He's so hot.
While he's finishing up and he's like, I need to go up and look. And she's like, sorry, I keep burping because I'm so nauseous. Anyway, he's like, I need it. Actually, can we turn the AC on?
Yeah. She's puking.
No. Thanks, dude. Your face. You're like,
oh, no.
Yeah, little slight worry in your eyes.
I'm like, if you start turning green.
Yeah, or white.
Or white.
Yeah, just let me know.
Whiter.
Whiter. Anyway, so he's like, I got to go up and look at the roof. And she's on the verge of crying. She thought of Michael and she's like, I got to excuse myself from this guy before I burst into tears in front of him. And as she does, she goes upstairs to her office and she decides to write Dante back. I don't have any money, so go pick on someone else if that's what you're after. Seriously, I'm broke. Who are you? What do you want? Why did you contact me? You said you know me, but you're wrong. I don't know anyone with your name, much less anyone in prison. I'm not judging you, just so you know, but I'd like to know what you did to get yourself there. Actually, forget it. I'm only writing now to ask you to stop contacting me. If you send another letter, I'll give it to my detective friend and let him deal with you.
She didn't need to write, actually, never mind, or whatever she said. She could have just erased the line.
Yeah, makes her a little more human, though.
Sure.
So Aiden's done. He tells her it's going to be $10,000.
Damn.
Yeah, she's like, I don't have that kind of money. And then...
No life insurance or anything?
There has been no life insurance. Your face. You're just like trying to connect the dots.
Well, I think I am.
Okay, so they have this very flirty interaction where she starts to try to like haggle with him. She's flirting with him and he's flirting with her. And finally she's like, you know what? I don't have the money for you. And he like walks up close to her and he's like, I'll do it for $5,000 cash and I'll be here first thing tomorrow morning. And then walks past her and leaves.
I still don't have $5,000.
She can do $5,000. She can do
okay.
half. So next morning he's pounding on the door. He's like, I'm here to fix your roof. And she lets him in and she's just feeling very weird. You know, she's like, there's this man in my house. I don't truly know who he is. My husband's fucking dead. She gets cold feet after like 20 minutes of them talking.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I want to call this off. Can you please leave? And he's thinking like, clearly something's going on with her.
Yeah.
You know?
Something.
Like she's not feeling comfortable. He's like, so I'm not going to push this. He finally says, okay. And he goes, if you ever change your mind, please call me Kayla. And after he leaves, she goes to the bathroom and looks in her mirror and she sees bruises on her neck and what looks like a thumbprint and like a hand on her neck. 5 days later, 5 days goes by. The bruises are starting to dissipate and she decides she's going to go to a grief group. Mm-hmm. Try and get out of her house, try and do something about this grief that she's experiencing about her husband. She gets there and it's before a group has started. She's standing at like the coffee table and she's talking to this woman who went through a truly traumatic experience and she talks about it. Kayla's like crying and they're both crying together and she asks the woman, well, does the grief ever get better? Do you ever get better? And the woman just like looks at her crying and she's like, what do you think? And then she goes and sits down. Kayla just kind of stands and observes and she's like, no one's even like comforting this woman. She's like, this group isn't going to help me. I'm going to go, and leaves before the group even starts. And she walks right across the street to the bar. Walks into the bar. Yep, that'll help you.
Yeah, that's a grief group.
Uh-huh. She sees Aiden sitting at the booth in the back. And she's like, oh, fuck. And she like is like, I hope he doesn't see me, veers to the bar and sits at the bar. And then
of course.
Here's Aiden.
Obviously. She could have just left.
Yeah. She wanted to drink, though.
I guess so.
You know,
well, the liquor store on the way home.
A theme, by the way, this entire time, like 5 days go by, like she's heavily drinking. I want you to know.
Yeah.
In this, the theme is she's constantly got a bottle of wine in her hand or a few glasses of wine in her hand. So he walks up to her. He gets like close to her, and when we were reading, she's like, I can feel the heat coming off his body and all this stuff. You know?
She's into it.
Yeah. You're like, whew. He goes, you're here without your husband? Because she didn't tell him that her husband was dead. She told Eddie, the first handyman, but she never told Aiden.
But then how did he know that she had a husband in the first place?
Assuming.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Maybe she
and she also,
ring?
well, she's wearing her ring.
Oh, okay.
She's wearing her ring. She also has photos of them all over her house.
Sure.
So he was just like, this woman is married.
Sure.
He doesn't know what's wrong, why she asked him to leave, but he's like, clearly something's wrong with this woman. I don't want to say wrong, but that's what
something's
he's feeling.
up. Well,
but she's
also
wearing
it's like,
a wedding
why
ring.
were you flirting with me?
Yeah.
So much if you have a husband.
But again, it was effortless flirting. She wasn't trying to, so it wasn't like dripping. But anyway.
Okay.
But he was flirting back.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So he saunters up to her and says, you're here without your husband? And she's like, oh, how observant you are. And she starts to almost cry because she's just listened to this traumatic story from this woman. Yeah. She's in a dark place. So she starts to almost cry. And he just like gently grabs her elbow and is like, come sit over here with me, and like guides her over to the booth that he was in. and sits next to her, not across from her, in the booth.
Intimate.
Uh-huh. And he was just like, I know I don't know you, but I'm just going to ask you a question. Is your husband hurting you?
Because he saw the bruises.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Even though that's from assumed poltergeist activity, from what I'm thinking.
Right. So he saw that. He saw how weird she was and asked him to leave. So she's like, she's got a thing with men. I think her husband's beating her.
Yeah.
And he was just like, again, I know that you don't know me, but if that man is hurting you, I will make sure he doesn't hurt you again.
Okay.
I said... I would have been, basement flooded.
Well, yeah. Except for all the grief.
Except for all the grief. Yeah. Anyway, so she goes, no, I'm sorry, it's complicated. He left me. And she just said he left me.
He did leave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but did he leave?
And then he just looks at her for a while. Like, and the author does a really good job of like building the tension. Like Kayla's sitting there looking forward. She can feel him just sitting there, his arm touching her, staring at her. For a while, they sit in silence. And she's not uncomfortable in this silence. She's like, this is strange. I'm not uncomfortable with this guy. And he goes, do you find me attractive?
Okay.
Out of nowhere. She goes, that snaps her out of her funk. Yeah. And she goes, what the fuck?
Yeah. He
goes, do you find me attractive? Because I think you're beautiful, and if you'd let me take you home, I'd make love to you right now. I know you're sad, and I just want to take your mind off things, only for tonight.
Can I fuck the sad out of you?
Yeah.
Hey, ma'am.
Uh-huh. My note says, I mean, hello.
Oh, you're just looking for your husband to die so this can happen.
I know. She's looking forward. He's right here. So then he, like, grabs her face and turns ever so slightly and gently to her and kisses her softly on the lips. No tongue.
No tongue.
No.
He's a gentleman.
And her body is sizzling. She's got adrenaline rushing. She's shaking. She's dizzy. And this says, read middle of...
And she's a little drunk.
Page 59. I almost collapsed face down onto the table, but managed to control myself. I take a gulp of the whiskey and let out a heavy, uneven breath. I won't be able to drive home if I have any more to drink, or is that your plan? My plan is to get you naked and find out how you sound when you come. Holy shit. I don't want you drunk, though. I want you to remember everything so you come back for more. She says, you sound confident that I would. I am. I'm confident you'll come back.
He's confident she'll come.
I shake my head in disbelief. It must be fantastic to go through life with such self-confidence. It is, and I really want to kiss you again. So he's like...
Well, he's laying it on... Thick's not even the word. Thick's not even the word. He's just saying it. He's got, you know what?
I told you I'm done and dusted for this man. Are. So he continues to talk to her like this. But she's just like, in her head, she's like, I just can't do this right now. And he goes, well, if you ever want to come see me again, I live above this bar, so feel free to come by whenever you want.
He lives above a bar?
Yeah.
Hi.
I know, dude. Why are we both so wet for people that live above bars? It's just cool.
Because come from families of alcoholics.
Yeah.
Both of us.
True.
Like,
well, and there's something about living above a business that's cool.
It's just cool. Because it's just like your whole
life. You're on Main Street.
Yeah. Like you're in it, it's popping, it's happening.
So she leaves, obviously. And she goes home. And we've got another letter sitting on her counter. Dear Kayla, thank you for writing me back.
This has so many things going on.
I know. I was... Paul... I
like,
didn't.
What? Dad, husband.
Not until the
hot contractor.
second. Not until the second I knew what was happening. I didn't know what was happening. Dear Kayla, thank you for writing me back. As for all the questions you asked, none of them matter. I'm sorry if that sounds rude, but it's the truth. I'll always tell you the truth. I can't do otherwise. Here's a verse you might appreciate. But already my desire and my will were being turned like a wheel, all at one speed, by the love that moves the sun and the other stars. What do you think, Dante?
I don't like Dante.
That night, she's at home, and there's a huge storm. And throughout the book, the storms, they're like scratching tree branches on her windows. They're unseemingly loud. She's like, these storms they're huge storms all the time. And she's not used to sleeping in this huge house alone. She's in there, and she's got her bedroom door closed, which I think is weird. I would have my bedroom door open. I'm like alone in my house. I don't need to have my door closed. And she hears
fucking house fires.
Does it?
Yeah, what do you mean? That's
so the house will burn around her, and then she's stuck in her bedroom, and now she can't get out?
No, all the rooms. You keep the doors closed at night.
Oh, the other door, or the other rooms.
And yours too.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, no.
Call a firefighter, ignorant bitch.
I would love to call a firefighter.
I bet you would. Let's call 911 right now.
I wonder if I could set a dating profile to be like firefighters only, please.
No cops.
No cops. No cops.
Yeah, EMTs.
Yeah, EMTs and
EMT
firefighters.
yeah, first responders.
Yeah, first responders. Only.
Only.
So she's laying there in bed and she's just scared and sad. And she hears the stair creak and she's like paralyzed with fear. And she waits and she hears it again. And because it's her house, she knows what stairs those are. She's just like absolutely terrified. And so she's like shaking. She hears another stair creak. And she's like, fuck it. Throws clothes on, darts out of the house, grabs her keys, darts out of the house. Doesn't put any shoes on. It's pouring rain. Finds herself driving and finds herself on the doorstep of Aiden's apartment above the bar. Yeah. And it's like midnight and she's banging on his door. He opens the door and he's shirtless, obviously, because he's at home. Jeans on, low-riding jeans. She can see the V. He's covered in tattoos.
He's just hanging out being hot.
Hairy chest. He's just being hot.
He's just hanging out doing a hot dude shit.
He's just looking at her and he's like, this woman doesn't have any shoes on. This raining out. Like something happened to her. And she's like, can I please come in? I think someone was in my house and I got really scared. And he was like, you came to me because you thought someone was in your house? And he's like, grabs her by the arm and he's like, we'll explore that later. But yes, please come in. Let me get you dried off. And so he's being all sweet. He's like, sit down, goes and gets a towel, starts drying her off. And she's just kind of like sitting there. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to say. What am I doing here? And so he's drying her hair and like being very cute. He's having dirty thoughts to himself, like, man, I wish she wasn't wearing these wet clothes. I wish I could get her out of these wet clothes.
I bet.
And he does say, like, we got to get you out of these clothes. We can put them in my dryer. I'll get you a shirt for you to wear. And so she follows him into his bedroom and he turns to his dresser to get clothes out. And when he turns around, she's taken her top off.
Tits out.
Tits out.
Tits out. What is going on with her? I feel like she's having a mental.
Well, she's definitely, I mean, he turns around and he's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
She says, I want you to fuck me. And he goes, you got it, boss. And picks her up and puts her down on the bed, bones her down.
I feel like these are all symptoms of like psychosis.
For sure.
You're just like making these crazy decisions and being like hypersexual and like
ups
and downs and just everything's changing quickly.
Hearing things.
Yeah, hearing things. And you know I love a ghost. I like to say the ghosts are real.
Yeah.
But I get a vibe that she's like in psychosis or something.
I want you to know the spice in this book is just absolutely perfect.
Okay.
His mouth, he's saying shit.
And I know you like him to talk.
And you know I like that. She goes, Aiden knows exactly what he's doing. He slides his hand under my ass and lifts my hips, gripping my ass cheeks, French kissing my pussy as I writhe and moan in desperation. So this sex scene goes on for like 3 chapters.
Yeah.
So it's good.
That's what you like.
That's what we all like.
Yeah, that's Okay. That's why you're reading the book.
That's why we're reading the book.
Not for the plot.
Except for this one is
the plot. I've just like Shutter Island or something going on over here.
Right. Yes, totally. Later, after they've done it and they're in the shower and she's standing there and she's internally freaking out because the decision when she took her top off, she was like, fuck it, I'm going to be depressed tomorrow. I'm going to be depressed for the rest of my life. So why not just have sex with this guy tonight? And I was like, you can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, whomst amongst us hasn't done that once or twice? So
now she's in the shower just being like, what kind of person am I? My husband's been dead for 3 weeks and I just fucked a guy. She's in such a spiral. And then obviously you hear Aiden go, I've never heard someone think as loud as you do. Which, that would turn me on.
Yeah, okay.
It's like
for a second, I thought, like she was actually saying it out loud, but he's just
he's paying attention to her.
He's like, I can tell that you're in your head.
Yeah. He's like, I've never heard someone think as loud as you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And he goes, you don't need to apologize to me. I was just observing. And he's just very matter of fact with her.
Yeah, good.
And he's sweet and he pays attention to her.
Is that just like we're super into that because we're a little on the spectrum, so we need someone to be very direct with us? Probably, huh?
Yeah, I need someone to be literal.
Tell me exactly how you feel.
Exactly. Well, because I take things extremely literally when I need to be a little bit more abstract.
Sure. And sometimes I think I speak very abstractly to just like I'm always describing something as something totally else.
And you're like, wait, only I make those connections in my head.
I see how that feels exactly the same.
Yeah. So he goes, and so he's like washing her hair, and he's like, we need to come up with a safe word. And she was like...
Rutabaga.
Rutabaga. That's funny. She's like, okay. And she's thinking, but have you ever hurt anyone before? And he's like, yes, I have, but it wasn't a sex thing, and it wasn't on accident.
Sir.
And she's like, okay. She's being kind of silent, and he's taking her silence as like, she wants me to keep talking. She's just listening to me.
Yeah.
And so he goes, growing up, my father used to beat my mother every day, and for years. And then once I grew up, and she cuts him off, and she's like, listen, I don't care what you did before I met you, especially if you had to do something to protect your mom or someone you loved, and I'm not passing judgment on you, and you don't need to tell me right now. And he's like, oh God, who is this woman?
Yeah.
Like, I love this woman.
Yeah.
Like, she's so...
Fix that roof for free.
Yeah, literally. He follows her back to her place after they get out of the shower, and he's like, I'm going to have a friend come install a security system in your house. And...
Well, like, can we address the holes in the roof?
He goes, I'm going to have a come. I'm going
to have a come. I'm going to have a quick come. And then we're going to fix your roof.
He goes, I'm going to have a friend come and install a security system at your house. While he's here, I'm going to run out and get supplies to fix your roof.
And I'm moving in.
And she goes, oh, let me... And by the way, when I say he's got a mouth on him, he's very, like, domineering in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, move over there.
Yeah, do this.
Take your pants off.
He's giving commands.
Yeah, he's giving commands. And he really likes to spank.
Okay.
Very into spanking. He's a spanker. And so she goes, okay, well, let me go write you a check for the $5,000. And he goes, say one more word about money and I'll have to bend you over and punish you again. She was like, I'm going to pay you for your work. I didn't fuck you for free repairs. He goes, I said, say one more word and you'll be punished. And she's like, oh, come on, for real? And he goes, I won't say it again. So now she's getting free repairs, free security system, and fucking this fine-ass man.
Dick. Are you kidding me? Yeah,
good dick.
Best thing ever happened to her. Her husband died.
So he leaves. The security guy comes over, and we find out it's his buddy from high school. So they've known each other for like 18, 20 years. And he's like, Aiden must really like you. He's never, ever talks about women. He does not date.
We all thought he was gay.
And then he looks down at her hand and sees her wedding ring. And his friend gets a little weird. He's just like, listen, this is my bud.
Yeah.
Like, we're like brothers.
What are you
doing? I just want you to know, like, he's had a tough life and he's a really good guy and he doesn't deserve to be hurt.
And that's why...
she can see him looking at her wedding ring.
Yeah. Well, that's why he falls for people that are unavailable.
Yeah.
Because of his tough life.
And she's just looks at him and she goes, I don't want to hurt Aiden. And so...
She's gonna hurt Aiden.
He's setting up. They're up in her office, which is where he's got everything hooked up to her, like her router. He turns to leave her office, and Kayla looks out her big window over her back, like, forest.
Okay.
And she sees a man standing by the tree, and she can't see his face. He's wearing a hat, but all she can see is a huge white grin that's terrifying. The grin.
Is this a white ghost story? Is this a smut story? Is this a psychological thriller?
This was me reading. I literally was like, what is going on? I was beside myself, Paul, reading this. So this man, she says his huge white teeth smile like an animal and chills run through my body.
Or is she just tripping?
I don't know. I do, but I'm not going to fucking tell
Obviously,
you.
You know.
She decides to go down and check it out. And the ground is sopping wet, muddy. She's like, there's going to be fucking footprints. This guy was just standing here. There are no footprints by the tree. There's nothing there.
Dante, like, that's like a whole, like, is that like a hell,
I know, it's like, where is he coming in?
Thing?
Where is this?
Is he actually in prison in hell and he's a spirit and he's coming to get her?
Right? Okay, so there are no footsteps.
No
and she
footsteps.
she sees something shining and she's like, what? She bends down to pick it over and it's a rare coin. It's a buffalo nickel. She knows it's worth precisely $2,500, and she knows this because it was Michael's. He took it with him everywhere. It was his good luck charm, and he never went anywhere without this nickel. And she's
What's going on?
That's what she's saying. She is thoroughly freaked out. She doesn't believe in ghosts.
I have so many theories.
She's like, what?
I have so many theories.
She's like, what is happening? Okay, so Aiden gets there. I'm going to get that tarp up now. She goes, what? Now? It's dark outside. So I don't want you falling off my roof and breaking your neck. And he's like, oh, okay, I remember where this goes. He's like, why would you care if I fell off my roof and broke my neck?
Is that how Michael died?
He wants to hear her say,
my husband's dead.
She likes him.
Oh.
He goes, why would you care why would you care if I hurt myself?
Yeah.
So this is kind of where he's asking her how she feels about him.
Like, what are we?
Uh-huh. Because we're already this far in.
Yeah.
So that's appropriate kind of timing for him to be like, What's going on? Like, do you like me? Because he's fallen fast and
Yeah,
hard.
do you like me?
Exactly. She just says, because I don't want to see you hurt, all right? Is that enough? Like, she's not appreciating him prodding.
Yeah.
And she still has not said a word about her husband being dead. And, he's not going to ask her because as far as he's concerned, he's alive. She told him that he left her, she said he left me. So
he's just somewhere
Aiden
gone.
thinks that, they're separated. Why wouldn't he think that? Okay, so later that night, once Aiden's gone, she writes back to Dante.
And why?
Dear Dante, I debated about whether or not to write you again, seeing as how I think you might be unstable, but you could also just be lonely, and if anyone knows about loneliness, it's me. The verse you sent was very poetic. I'm sorry, but I can't think of anything else to say about that right now. What I would like to say is that I hope you're not dangerous and about to be granted parole, because would I look stupid when the police find my dead body in our correspondence? I can already see the headline. Okay, that's a lot, but you get my point. We've all heard about the prison pen pal romance gone wrong thing. Not that I'm suggesting there's anything romantic here, just that I'll look really stupid if you break out of prison and kill me, especially after writing that last line. Anyway, I most likely will shred this before it has a chance to be mailed, but on the off chance that I don't, please consider being truthful about what you did to be sentenced to prison. I suppose I could get my detective friend to tell me, because people in his position probably have access to all kinds of sensitive information, but I'd rather hear it from you. That's it for now. I doubt you'll ever read this letter because I'm 90% sure I'll tear it up, but if I don't, well, curiosity got the best of me. Unsolved mysteries can drive a girl out of her mind. Sincerely, Kayla.
She's off her rocker, deranged. Anytime the Dante thing comes in, I'm convinced that she's deranged.
This
and
is amazing.
Out of reality.
Yeah.
Not happening.
So she's written that letter in her office at 3 a.m. It's now 3 a.m. having just wrote the letter. She hears floorboards creaking above her. She's like, no one's there, no one's there, no one's there, no one's there. Unless someone was hiding in the house while the security system was being installed.
Paranoid.
I would have had that thought too. I would have been like, but what if someone was already in my house?
But we're not mentally
the security alarm wouldn't have gone off if they're already in the home, So she goes to investigate every room in her house. She's going in here. She's going in there. Branches are scraping against the window. It's dark. It's scary. And obviously, God forbid you turn a fucking light on.
Yeah.
She heads downstairs and she gets into her kitchen, and every single drawer is open. Every single cabinet is open.
Classic poltergeist activity.
Mm-hmm. And as she stands there just looking, a jar of honey flings off the shelf, shatters on her kitchen floor into a million pieces. She runs back up to her office, locks herself in her office, and just stays there until the sun comes up. She's absolutely fucking terrified. The next morning, she is trying to rationalize everything, because that's what you would do. Ghosts aren't real. In real life, you're like, that ghosts aren't real. That didn't happen.
Ghosts are real.
Well, yes, it definitely.
Ghosts are real.
Depends, but a person would usually try to rationalize. They would So she's just trying to rationalize. Yes. So she's just gaslighting herself into thinking nothing happened. I didn't hear anything. I don't know what happened with the drawer, with the
jar.
Maybe she's just
the wind hit it.
Yes, literally. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this entire time, in addition to lights going off, the doorbell's constantly ringing. So, and no one's ever there. So she had him put a camera. She's like, specifically, please put a camera here, because I don't want to keep answering the door to no one there. I want to be able to check on my phone and be like, oh, yep, no one's there.
Yeah,
the doorbell's just ringing.
No big deal.
So as she's rationalizing and gaslighting herself there, the doorbell rings. And she's like, no one's going to fucking be there again. Checks her phone. No one's there. All the lights in the house flicker in that moment, and a few more blow out. And then she's looking. So she's like, this is fucking crazy. She's standing in her office. She's looking at a picture of her and Michael, just being like, what is happening? What's going on? And then she looks a little deeper at this photo of her and Michael, and she notices on her arm there appears to be bruises, and they look like thumbprints in her wedding photo.
So was Michael abusing her? And now
Aiden,
he's dead and he's still doing it?
Aiden texts her in that moment and is like, I've been thinking about you all day. I want you to come over and sit on this face.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. So she does. She comes over there. She's like so freaked out at this point. She's like, I'll do anything to get out of this house. She gets there, and he doesn't say a word to her. He just opens the door and just picks her up and takes her to his bed and puts it down. They make a safe word, and she was like, you can tell me what your safe word is, but I'm never going to use it. And he goes, when we're in here, I want you to call me sir or master.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
yeah.
shit. He puts it down. After that sex session, she's kind of talking about Michael a little bit, and she's like, why haven't I told Aiden he's dead? She's in her head, she's like, just tell him he's dead. Yeah. She's like, I don't know why I can't tell him.
And take the rings off.
And then, take your goddamn ring off. And internally, she's got this whole inner monologue. We find out it was a boating accident.
Okay.
And he drowned.
Okay. She did it.
Whatever. They just lie there intimately and just open up to each other about all kinds of stuff. It's a really beautiful evening.
A little pillow talk.
Yep. Next morning, he's all horned up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Gives it to her again.
That's right.
And is like, there's just spanking everywhere. There's like, yes, sirs, give it to me, master. All these things. She's like, I'm coming undone with this man. Oh yeah, she's
widowed and ready to mingle.
That's another thing that she's just like, I've never had sex like this before. She's like, this is insane. I've never felt. She's like, I could never have sex with Michael this way.
So
this is
Michael
crazy.
never put it down.
Michael never put it down.
So then what? So I'm just like, did she? Well, how does she feel about Michael?
So
she's sad.
She's.
But like, how did she feel about? Michael?
She loved Michael. You know, especially. You know, she was like, I will never love again. I've lost this man. But we don't get like he was a bad guy. We don't get. Okay. She just was like, Michael and I had a connection. We had a connection that I know most people don't have. But she's also like, but I'm having sex with Aiden in a way that I've never had before. Michael was a very, very smart man. He had a PhD and he worked at a university. Okay. In their doctorate program. So just a little vanilla, probably. Yeah. You know?
That sucks.
So Aiden is like, I need you to be honest with me about something. And she goes, okay. He's like, what are the chances of you getting back together with Michael?
Slim to none.
And she goes, 0. And he goes, then why are you still wearing your wedding ring?
Yes. Well, because he died 2 days ago or whatever.
Well, I think it's been about a month, but still. I'm sorry. Well, dude, have you seen that quote from the Princess Diaries? Huh. It's at the very beginning of the movie. And Mia's like talking about her dead dad, and her friend's like, God, I thought you got over that. It's been like a month. You should watch that movie. It's really funny.
I mean, that is what's happening here, though. But he doesn't know that that's what he's saying.
Yeah. He goes, I gotta be honest, I won't be a rebound. I won't be the guy you distract yourself with while you make yourself feel better and then walk away from me when you do. So I'd rather cut my losses now before I get my heart shredded, because I can already tell you're gonna wreck me if this goes on much longer.
Finish the roof first.
Anyway, so that's what's going on. He's just like, you know.
He lays it out.
He's like, he doesn't say I'm falling in love with you, but it's very clear that he is. She was like, there's no chance, you know, and I don't want to hurt you. So they decide to stick this thing out and see where it goes. They're going to just take it day by day. They want to get to know each other, find out why they feel so drawn to each other, why they have this magnetism with one another.
Because they both have dead spouses. I'm saying it.
And so then they're having breakfast. He's a good cook, so she's like eating breakfast, and he's like, I gotta go work on my house today. And she goes, your house? And he goes, I'm building a house.
Obviously.
From ground up.
Obviously. Oh my God. Obviously, he's just out
he's
there
a perfect
shirtless, like
building
a 2x4,
a house.
Construction hat.
Mm-hmm. So she's like, I want to see your house. He was like, not today. You have work to do. By the way, I didn't tell you, she's an artist. She illustrates for children's books. Okay. And since Michael died, she's not been meeting her deadlines, and she's got a lot of work to do. And she's been distracting herself with Aiden. So he's like, not today. He's like, you've got a lot of work to do, and I know
go draw your pretty little pictures.
That it's not what we want to do. Like, we want to spend every fucking waking moment together. He's like, but I need to go work on my house, and you need to go work. Yeah. She's like, fine. She leaves, and she gets out into her car, and she freezes. And sitting on her dashboard is Michael's buffalo nickel, the rare coin that she found out by the tree.
Haunted. But so when she found it by the tree, did she take it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, she's taken it. She put it in her drawer in her office. And so she's just looking at the coin like, what?
When the fuck is Dante getting here?
So she is freaking out. She gets home, pours a big, huge glass of wine, and she saunters up to her office. She hears laughing, a child laughing. And she's like, what? She looks out her window, and she sees a little boy in her backyard forest playing. And she's like, what the fuck? She's like, the parents? How this kid on my property? Like, this is insane. Runs outside. He's gone. Looks around the house. He's gone. The kid's gone. And she's like, what is fucking happening? The next day, she wakes up and her alarm is blaring and it's 10 a.m. and she has no clue how she slept this late. Oh, but sorry, the house alarm is blaring. And she's like, how is this happening? It's her housekeeper, Fiona. Fiona's been coming for years. And she disarms the alarm and Kayla's like, how did you just disarm that alarm, Fiona? And Fiona's like, how do you think? And Kayla's like, oh, sorry, I guess I must have just forgot that I told you the code to the house alarm.
What is going on?
Her housekeeper is like, can I talk to you, Kayla? Her name's Fiona, and she's like Scottish, old and Scottish.
Okay.
And Kayla's like, yeah, let's have a chat. And they go down in her kitchen, and they're sitting there. Kayla looks like shit, she's just like, and Fiona's like, it's a really long conversation. She goes, from where I'm from and in my culture, hauntings are real. And they're natural. Yeah. And I think there's something going on here with you. I've noticed this for the past month. She cleans the house once a week. And Kayla's like, I do not believe in that. And so it goes on for a couple chapters and she's really a little bit unbearable. I was like, let's skip over this. Because Kayla was like, kind of being a cunt to Fiona. She was like, my house isn't fucking haunted and you're dumb for believing that. That's not what she says, but that's the gist. Yeah. Fiona tells her, your house needs a seance and my sister is a medium. And she can do this for you. And finally, begrudgingly, Kayla's like, because as they're talking, the doorbell goes off. Lights bust out. And Fiona's like...
It's like showing off.
Fiona's like, come on. You need a seance. There's something going on here.
Let's do it. I love a seance.
And so Kayla begrudgingly was like, all right, have your sister come out and do a seance. And we've got another letter from Dante. Dear Kayla, I had this cat when I was a kid. Orange tabby, skinny thing, hated everybody except me. That cat loved me. I loved him too, though I didn't know it until he got hit by a car. Before that, I thought OJ was a menace. Once that cat died and he wasn't around anymore, I realized how much I loved him. That stupid cat had been my best friend, but I only realized it in hindsight. Funny thing, isn't it? Hindsight. It's memory, but with new understanding tacked on, so that the past means something different than it did before. And the only way to find that meaning is to look for it. Look to the past. Dig up those graves. Examine the bones you find there. I've been doing my fair share of that lately. I've got so much time on my hands in this place. Thinking about the past has become the main way I spend my days. You asked what I did to land myself here. The simple answer is that I loved someone too much. You see, I learned a lesson from OJ's death. I learned that love means nothing unless it's acted upon. Love isn't real without intent. It's a verb. It isn't passive. But most of all, love means sacrifice. Whatever love asks of you must be given, no matter the price. And I'd gladly give what love asked me 1,000 times over, even if I had to do it every day until the end of eternity. I'd slice open my own veins with a razor blade and happily bleed myself dry. Dante.
What is going on?
Are you enthralled?
Well, yeah, I just have so many things I want to throw out there, but they're just like...
Yeah. I know, dude. It's a rainy Saturday. She decides to go over to Aiden's and they have a fuck fest.
Yeah.
They do anal.
Oh, good for her.
Good for her. After that, they're laying there and he decides to open up with her and he's like, well, actually what happens is he draws a bath for her. Okay. He's doing a little aftercare because they had crazy sex.
Sir stuff.
And so he like draws her a bath, like carries her to the bathtub, places her in the bathtub and is like sitting there next to her on the floor, like rubbing her leg. It's so sweet.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God. You're okay. Yeah. And
you're living this.
Oh, I was
I'm watching you. This. You're telling me like this is memories of you, of you and yours.
I wish. And so he's like, I killed my father. And she's kind of like silent for a minute. And she's like, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. And she's yelling at herself. She's like, he just told me this secret. Like, just fucking tell him Michael's dead. He goes, please just tell me if your husband is hurting you. Because if he is, I will kill him. She knows that he means that. Yeah, sincerely. And he says something like, he was like, with my time away in prison, obviously. He went for killing his dad. He's like, I learned things. And he was like, I would be a lot better at it this time. Talking about killing Michael if he's hurt.
I hope so.
Yeah, touch her and die.
Yeah, amen.
She was like, God, I shouldn't be drawn to this man threatening murder, but I am. I'm so into it. And then after the bathtub. They make sweet, tender love. And he says to her, if you decide this isn't what you want anymore, just promise me you'll end it before I fall in love with you. You don't have much time left.
Too late. Yeah.
She goes, you don't. He goes, you don't have much time left. The next morning, he's like, let's go for a ride and let me take you to my property. And it's the first day that it's a beautiful day.
Okay.
And so they're on the back of his motorcycle and she's just like loving this. And they get up to his property and it's just absolutely gorgeous and all these trees. And then we get do you know what primal play is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, hopefully it's the same thing that I'm thinking of. Like, she's like, I want you to chase me through these woods. Yeah.
Yeah, like
and
hunter, hunted.
Yeah, exactly. So they're doing this, we get this whole chapter of this primal scene where she's like running through the woods naked and they're having this crazy sex and he's saying crazy things. And then when they're done, she's got like blood on her knees and he's like, oh my God, I hate myself. I hurt you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I was very into it. You don't need to apologize.
Obviously. Who knew this freaky freak was just married to this doctorate guy?
Oh yeah, she was, because she initiated it. She's like, you'll have to fucking catch me first, and then starts running through the woods, throwing clothes everywhere, and then there's like a scene up against a tree. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I bet.
And then when they're done, they are just standing there like looking at his house, like arm in arm, and they just like look at each other, and she's like, there's a million words left unsaid between us, but we both know what we're feeling, blah 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 blah. They spend the next few nights together. And they are just absolutely head over heels in love. Like, he's enamored with her. She's enamored with him. She's never felt more safe. She's never felt more empowered.
But is she meeting any of her deadlines?
So she decides it's been a few nights. She needs to go home.
Yeah.
You know, when she gets home, she sees Fiona in Michael's office cleaning. And she's like, I thought I told you that I wanted to leave Michael's office the way it is. I didn't want you to clean Michael's office. And she like gets pissed. She's like, and you know what, by the way, now that she's been with Aiden back in reality, she's like, and you know what, I want to cancel this seance. This is insane. I'm just going to go see a therapist. It's all in my head. I don't want to do the seance anymore.
Okay.
You know, because she's like, there's my house can't be haunted. I can't be sane if I think my house is haunted, is what she's thinking.
Sure.
In that moment, Fiona was like, okay, we you know, if that's what you want to do, we can cancel the seance and I'll leave and I won't clean in here again. And she leaves.
Was she like weirded out? Like, was she like, you have told me never to clean Michael's office?
She did initially. In the very beginning of the book, I forgot to mention that.
She said that.
That she's, you know, Fiona was there. And Fiona was like, so you'll be staying in the house then? Mm-hmm. And she was like, the plan is to stay here for now. And she was like, just please don't clean Michael's office.
Okay.
As Fiona leaves, she looks at Michael's desk and she sees a newspaper folded up on the desk. And she's like, I've never seen that. I don't know how that got there. And it has a picture of Michael on the front and it says, local man drowns. Yeah. And she's just like, how has this been here? And then in that moment, boom, a blue jay flies into the window, cracks its neck, dies and falls, which is a bad omen. Yes. And she's like, oh, and gets terrified. And then she starts hearing sounds all over the house in that moment. The bird, branches, footsteps, doorbell, breaking lights. She runs into her bedroom. She makes her bed meticulously every day and she sees an indent on Michael's side of the bed. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? And she ends up falling asleep. Time completely gets away from her. She basically passes out from fear, essentially. She calls Eddie, the first handyman, when she wakes up. And she's like, hey, man, I'd like the number of your shrink, please. Yes. And he's like, oh, his name's David Letterman. And she was like, David Letterman, that's kind of funny. And he's like, why is that funny? And she's like, whatever. And he's like, he works over at this building on this street, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, I know that building.
What do you mean? What is there? Everyone is a figment of her imagination. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, you know, what do you mean you don't get the, he's like, David Letter? She's like, I don't know, that's lost on me, sorry. I don't know the joke. And he goes, but here's the building where you can go find him. So she drives down there and she's like, okay, here's the building. And then she turns and across the street is a restaurant. And she sees Aiden with his arm around a woman walking into the restaurant. And her stomach falls out of her ass. Because it's like when you catch someone cheating and you're like...
Yeah, 100%.
And so her stomach falls out of her ass. She's like, what? She gets in her car and like sits there, grabs her steering wheel and like sits there. And she's like, what the fuck do I do? And she hears knock, knock, knock on her window and it's Aiden. And he's just kind of standing there. She's not rolling her window down and she's like, yes? Yeah. And he goes, what's going on? What you doing? You gonna talk to me or just sit there? Yeah. She finally like gets out of the car and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, how's your date going, Aiden? And he's like, oh, that's his sister. Bless your heart. Grabs her, brings her into the restaurant, sits down in a booth, and it's his buddy from high school who installed the alarm and his wife. Oh. And that's who
He was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, crazy.
Jump to conclusions. And so he's like, just join us, sit down with us. And she's like, oh, hey, to the guy who installed the assist. I can't remember his name, the friend. She's like, I was really fucking jealous just now.
I was about
to oops.
Freak out.
Yeah. She's like, wow. Okay. So I've got some severe feelings for this man. Then she starts internally panicking again. And Aiden can tell.
Yeah, obviously.
And so can the wife. While she's sitting there, they ask her a couple questions and they're like, hey. Yeah. Kayla. And she's like, oh, sorry. And meanwhile, she had been fiddling with her wedding ring that entire time. You can see the friend who installed the security system. Everyone's looking down at her. Doing that. And the wife's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Do you want to go with me, Kayla? Yeah. She's like, yes. So they go to the bathroom. The wife's super nice. When they come back out, Aiden and Dude are clearly having an argument. They sit down and it's tense. And finally the friend just looks at Kayla and was like, what are you doing with my friend?
Yeah. What's with your husband?
Why are you here with us right now when you're so clearly otherwise preoccupied? And points at her ring. And Aiden is like, you're crossing a fucking line, dude. Don't talk to her like that. She's like, no, he's entitled to ask me these questions. He's just looking out for you, his friend. She's like, she still doesn't tell him, Michael said.
What the fuck?
She's just like, actually what she does in this moment is she's like, I know why you're blah, 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 but I don't want to hurt your friend. She turns to Aiden and she's like, everyone, as you're reading it, they're like, everyone disappears. It's just me and Aiden sitting at this table now. She basically professes her love to him and is like, I'm here for you. I want to do this with you, be with you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I want nothing more. I want the same thing. And then so they kiss and they end up, whatever. They're like, whatever. Yeah. In that moment, when she's kissing him, she looks at a mirror on the wall and she sees standing behind her, the
smiling man.
The smiling man. So hat down, just white
What
teeth.
is going on?
She turns around. No one's there.
Is she dead?
After dinner, he is like, come on, just come over to my place. Leave your car here. We can pick your car up tomorrow. He drives over to his place and he's like, fuck, turns the car around. And she goes, what are you doing? Why are you turning the car around? He's like, I'm taking you to your car and you're going to go home. And she's like, why? And he's like, because again, there's nothing I want for us to be together more than this moment. But I think I'm going to do something for you that you won't do for yourself. I need you to call me when you're ready to take that wedding ring off. Yeah. Yep.
That is a good call and a very fair thing to ask.
He was like, I don't want to give you space, but I'm giving you space because clearly you've got some unresolved things.
And you keep fucking with it. It seems like it's a thing for
You're always in your head. Yeah. You're clearly thinking about Michael and your marriage. So call me when you can take your ring off. She's sad. She's like, please, no, don't end it like this. And he's like, well, it doesn't have to end like this.
Yeah, I'm not ending it. I'm just giving you, you just have to fucking buck up.
Yep. She goes home and passes out. The next day, she's like, okay, I need to go back to that building and see if I can find where the shrink is. And as she is walking to that building right here, she sees a sign, tarot readings. Okay. $10.
Sure. Steal.
And she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go in here and get a reading done. And I'm going to tell you what her reading was.
Oh, yay. What? The cards? I get to know.
The cards.
Oh, my God. Tell me the cards.
She cuts the deck. She decides she's going to focus on how do I move on from my husband? That's what she's focusing on. The one on the left shows a person lying on the ground with a row of swords sticking out of his back. The one in the middle depicts a nude couple holding hands under a tree, but the card faces toward destiny, not me. The one on the right is the weirdest. It's an upside-down skeleton in full body armor riding a horse with a scythe in his bony hand. And boy, that's really fucking freaky, not at all helpful. It's also facing destiny. So those two are away from her.
Yeah, so that's probably the Seven of Swords and then Lovers and Death.
She goes, you have two major arcana cards, which in itself are significant. The major arcana represent karmic influences and what happens on the soul's journey toward enlightenment. These are important lessons you're being called to process, but when reversed, it means you're not paying attention. And here, both major arcanas are reversed. This is a very complex draw. So she speaks with destiny. Yeah. The psychic. Tarot card reader. Uh-huh. She's just like, you need to listen. There's unresolved things and you're not paying enough attention. And she looks at her with this pitiful look. Okay. Kayla's like, why is she looking at me like pity? Yeah. And she was like, I'll pray for you as Kayla leaves. That's what Destiny says.
Not what you want to hear.
Yeah. So that's what happens there. Okay. So now we've got two letters, one letter from Dante and one letter from Kayla to Dante. Dear Dante, As you can see, my curiosity about you has won. I hope this letter finds you well. I'm not so well myself. Actually, I think I've blown past unwell and landed squarely in Crazy Town, where I'm currently running for mayor. Have you ever felt like your life is out of control? Like there are unseen forces pulling the strings and you're just a puppet dancing around helplessly, getting jerked this way and that? That's how I feel. Helpless. I'm lost in a storm. Also, more than a little pathetic, because the only person I can talk to about my problems is someone I've never even met who's currently incarcerated for reasons unknown to me, who might even be a serial killer for all I know. Though it's probably better this way, I doubt I could tell someone I know that a fortune teller named Destiny told me I have psychic baggage. My housekeeper's trying to convince me I'm haunted. I'm being haunted, and I'm seriously entertaining the idea of having a seance, because nothing normal makes sense anymore. Normal went out the window when my husband died. Also, I'm falling in love. It's only happened to me once before, so I'm not much of an expert on the subject. All I know is that I feel incredible when I'm with him, and like shit when I'm not. I love making him smile and I hate making him sad, which unfortunately I seem to have a knack for. I'm all messed up, Dante. Do you have any words of wisdom for me? Dear Kayla, you asked if I have words of wisdom for you. The answer is yes. Here they are. You are not controlling the storm, and you are not lost in the storm. You are the storm. I'd love to take credit for that, but it's from a writer by the name of Sam Harris. He was arguing that free will is an illusion, which I'm sure you'll agree is a thoroughly depressing idea. Bypassing the dour, D-O-U-R, bypassing the door philosophical stance, however, I really like the perspective that chaos isn't outside us. It's always within, even if we perceive it to be otherwise. You're the chaos, you're the storm, you're the one creating the high winds and choppy seas you have to navigate. You're the source of everything that's happening. In other words, you're the one with the power. The question then becomes, what are you going to do with it? Sam Harris would tell you I completely wrecked his argument and I have no idea what I'm talking about, but we're not listening to him. Listen to yourself, Kayla. Stop and really listen. What is all your thunder and lightning telling you? 2 weeks go by.
Okay.
She has not heard from Aiden. He has not called. He has not texted.
Well, take your ring off.
And she's beside herself. She's absolutely going insane.
Well, yeah. She's like hooked on that D now, too.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
And she wants it. Not only do we have no Aiden, she still has not gotten a therapist, and now she has insomnia.
Well, that's because she sought therapeutic advice from a figment of her imagination that doesn't know who David Letterman is.
Right.
And
so now she has insomnia. So she's quite literally going insane.
Yeah, dude.
She's in her office, and she hears children laughing again. And she looks down at her yard.
Yeah.
And there's the little boy again. And this time he stops playing, looks up at her, points at her, and screams bloody murder.
Okay, I do think I know what's going on.
Okay. Then she runs down, and she's like, where the fuck is this kid? She looks back up at her office window. He's up there looking down at her. She reviews the security camera footage to be like, can I see this kid?
Yeah.
And it's nothing but static. Thank you for your patience in this episode, Paul.
Yeah, it's killing me.
And thank you for letting...
Not being able to guess and just openly talk about everything, it's killing me. At this point, it's too late. No, and this is, twist and turn. I'll never do this again.
Your no was not convincing. You hate me.
No, I don't hate you.
Okay. I don't believe you. Dear Dante, thank you for the advice. I must say, however, it was shitty. You were the storm. What is your thunder and lightning telling you? Was that really supposed to be helpful? Because it wasn't. Please forgive the rudeness, but my life is falling apart. Correction, it already fell apart. I'm just wandering in all the broken pieces, kicking up dust and cutting my feet on shards of glass. And by the way, what was that whole thing about the love that turned the stars and the wheels? That was confusing as hell. As a matter of fact, all your letters have been confusing. I still don't know what you want from me, or why you decided we should be pen pals, or how you even found me in the first place. I hardly know what's real and what isn't anymore. I don't even know if the letters are real. Maybe I'm staring at the wall in my locked room in a mental institution, conjuring all this up in my head. Yeah. That's what it feels like anyway.
Maybe that is what's happening.
Right. I feel like I let go of the rope that tied me to the dock, and now I'm drifting alone far out at sea in a leaking raft that's been circled by hungry sharks, and the wind is picking up, and it's starting to rain. I'm drowning, Dante. I'm drowning. What I really need right now is a life jacket. Over the next few days, everything really starts coming to a head. Things are breaking. Things are shattering. Doorbell's out of control. Lights. She's insane. She can't sleep. Everything's just heightened to the next level. She's now starting to have dreams where she's drowning.
Yeah.
And she's starting to smell like sewage or burning flesh coming from her laundry room. The smell she can't... It's just like the house is... Something's happening, She breaks down and texts Aiden, and she's like, I miss you. And he's like, I miss you too. And she's like, I need to see you. And he goes, are you still wearing that wedding ring?
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
So she goes on a bit of a bender, or she thinks she does, because she wakes up, on her couch and she's like, I feel like shit, it's Monday. And Fiona's walking in to clean the house. She says, you know what, let's do the seance. Let's fucking do the seance.
Yeah, obviously.
And it just so happens that, like, the next day is a supermoon. Perfect time for a seance. So it's nighttime, it's the next day, and it is seance time. Fiona and her sister, she gets there and they look like twins. She's like, you didn't tell me you had a twin. And she's like, we're not twins, we just look
alike.
Exactly like twins. And on this evening, there is a massive lightning storm and thunderstorm, and it's like they can't even hear themselves talk inside her house. They go, she and the sister, whose name is Claire. So Claire is like, I think we need to set this up in Michael's office. That seems to be where we should do the seance. So they get their table set up. She's got all her stuff, and they're all sitting there. And she opens herself up. She's talking to the spirit. The spirit makes itself known.
Yes.
Slam a door if you're there or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they decide to do the 1 knock for yes, 2 knocks for no. They start asking the spirit questions. They ask if they know anyone in the room, and they say yes. And Fiona's like, do you know Fiona? No. Do you know me? No. Do you know Kayla? Yes. Did you know Kayla when you were alive? Yes.
If it's Michael, wouldn't he have known Fiona, though? Okay. Keep going. Wouldn't he?
Good call, Paul. They have like a letter board. It's not a Ouija board, but they have a letter board.
Yeah.
Or no. They have her writing notes, like to
like
the spirit to
writing.
take over her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What do you want? What do you want? What are you trying to get done?" And it writes out revenge. And Kayla freaks out. She's like, "Nope. This is freaking me out. I can't do this." She's like, this is fucking scary. Like, the house is coming up. You're talking to a spirit right now. It says it wants revenge and it knows me. Like, it's trying to fucking kill me.
Kayla?
Like,
what did you do, Kayla?
It's trying to kill me,
What did you do?
So Kayla freaks out and runs downstairs in the kitchen. And she's just like, oh my God. So Fiona and Claire come down there and they're just like, clearly someone is here and they need your help or something to pass on, to get to another realm, to move on. And Claire's like, when it said revenge, I didn't feel that it was saying revenge against you. I just felt revenge.
Okay.
She's like, so we need to figure out like who used to live in this house. Let's just start there. And
let's figure this out.
They're just kind of talking to her and she's like, okay. And they're like, or we can finish the seance. And Kayla's like, no, I'm not finishing the seance. I'm not doing that. And so Claire and Fiona are like, okay, well, try and figure out who lived in this house. Try and, maybe start there. And she's like, okay, thanks. Like, let's call it a night.
Okay.
And as she's walking Claire and Fiona out, she opens the door, and on her front doorstep is a life jacket.
Okay.
Do you remember the letter from Dante? I'm drowning, Dante. I'm drowning. What I really need right now is a life jacket.
Okay.
So she opens her door, and there's a life jacket on her front step. And she picks it up, and she's like, oh my God. Slams the door shut, and is like, I think I know who's haunting me.
Dante?
And so they walk back into the kitchen, and...
or whoever Dante killed. I think she's dead.
She shows them Dante's letters. She's like, so I think it's this person. I have no clue how these letters showed up in my house. Like, how would they show up? Blah, 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 blah. And they're reading their letters, and they're like, okay, yeah. She's like, I told him... she's like, I have this detective friend. When Michael died, he was interviewing me, and... you was nice and said if I ever needed his help for anything that I could call him. And I almost called him when I started getting these letters from Dante to be like, look in Washington State Prison. Who is Dante? Tell me who's writing to me. And she's like, so they're like, well, fucking call him right now.
What do you mean?
Yeah. So she decides she's going to call him and see if he can look anything up for her. In that moment, as they're sitting there at the table, through the ceiling falls her wedding ring and that rare coin.
Okay. Yeah.
She calls the detective. Okay, now here's where I'm going to read.
Okay.
I'm going to read this. This is the reveal chapter.
Okay.
Everybody. And I will be paraphrasing some things.
Okay.
I've got it all
This
highlighted.
is crazy.
I know.
This is crazy. I have like 3 or 4 ways I think this is going to go.
Yeah. Okay. She's calling the detective. Seattle PD, how can I assist you? Detective Roman Peters, please. Are you a friend of his, ma'am? What? No, he helped me a while back. My husband was in an accident and he interviewed me and gave me his card. I'd like to speak with him, please. It's urgent. I'm sorry, but that's impossible. Detective Peters has passed on. He died, sudden cardiac arrest. I disconnect the phone, feeling strangely numb. Well, what did they say? Fiona prompts. He's dead. When? She didn't say. Why does it matter? Claire opens the laptop and hits a power button. She opens up the internet browser and starts to type. What are you doing? I'm going to look up the county recorder. We can check the property records for this address and discover whoever owned the house before you. And then she stands back, frowning. What is it? Kayla says. Was the deed to this property recorded in someone else's name? No, it should be listed as Michael and Kayla Reese. Who the hell are Sandy and David Wainwright? It says they bought this house in January. Somewhere upstairs, another door slams. I hear the sound of running feet and then child's laughter. Wait, the little boy, we're forgetting about him. If Dante's the ghost in the house, who's the kid? And what about the man in the trench coat and the hat? How does he fit into all of this? When I look back at Claire and Fiona, they're wearing identical expressions of sadness, along with another emotion I've seen before. I saw it on Destiny's face, the psychic I visited who wished me safe travels and as I was leaving. It's unmistakable. It's pity. Why are you guys looking at me like this? Claire says gently. It's all right, Caleb. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of, my dear. What is that supposed to mean?
I knew it!
Give me the phone, dear. Why? I'm going to call the police station and find out when he passed. Give me the phone. Seattle PD, how can I help you? Yes, good evening, ma'am. Will you please tell me when Detective Peters died? It's been 6 months since he passed, almost to the day. Kayla, that's impossible. She's wrong. He interviewed me the day after Michael's accident. That was only 2 months ago. He sat with me on the dock and interviewed me. Claire says sadly, I have no doubt that he did. Looking at her for help, I say, Fiona? She says softly, you have to understand, dear, that there are very few people who can communicate with spirits. What are you saying? What does that have to do with anything? Mediums, psychics, some gifted children, and other ghosts, though they don't understand that they're speaking with other ghosts. I look back and forth between them, tears streaming down my face. A line from Dante's last letter flashes into my mind. You are the storm. You're the source of everything that's happening. Then I recall something Fiona told me the day she came in and set off the alarm. A spirit is energy manifesting itself, akin to an electrical storm, gathering force until it discharges a bolt of lightning. When a spirit is upset, that emotion, that energy is transformed into a physical outcome. Hence your open cupboards. I'd say the spirit who lives in this house is fucking furious. As if she were talking about me. I whisper hoarsely, no. Fiona quietly says, yes, my dear, I'm afraid so. With the explosive force of a bomb, 100 different memories detonate in my head all at once. How shocked Fiona was when she saw me the day after Michael's funeral, how she asked in this peculiar tone, so you'll be staying in the house? How Eddie, the handyman who dressed like a hippie, didn't have a cell phone and thought David Letterman was only a therapist? How all the roofers I called never called me back, how the security camera only recorded static when I went into the yard, how Destiny the psychic said, I'll pray for you. The death card, the lovers, the reversed magician indicating I needed to let go of my illusions, the upright ten of swords that hinted at deep wounds. Fiona saying, reality is simply what we believe it to be. Each of us makes our own truths. When I meet Fiona's gaze, her eyes are shining with tears. I sob and then slap a hand over my mouth to stifle it. When I whirl around in panic, Fiona's holding out one of Dante's envelopes to me. Read the name on the return address, she says. Dante Alighieri. I cry, shaking my head. His name is Dante Alighieri. So what? Don't just look at it. See. All the letters in the return address are now moving, trading places with one another, and slowly rearranging themselves into something else. A name that rips a hole straight through the fabric of my being. Aidan Laywright. Dante Alighieri is an anagram for Aidan Laywright. I've been blind, refusing to acknowledge the truth, looking at everything but seeing nothing at all. Tears streaming down my face, I drop the envelope and run from the kitchen. I burst through the door of Michael's office, fall sobbing onto his desk. I snatch up the newspaper with Michael's picture on it. With shaking hands, I unfold it all the way. The headline doesn't say local man drowns. It says local man drowns wife. And from the other side of the crease, my photo stares back at me.
Yes, dude!
It all comes back in a rush. A locked iron door inside my mind flings open and an icy black ocean of memories flood in. I scream. As I scream, the windows explode outward into a million razor-sharp, glinting shards of glass that are instantly sucked into the storm and carried into the rainy night. Fiona and Claire stand in the office doorway. A small barefoot figure in blue pajamas cowers beneath them in terror. It's the little blonde boy I keep seeing on the lawn.
Because he lives there now.
The boy who lives here with his parents, Sandy and David Wainwright. Michael didn't die. Aidan died. Michael killed him right before he killed me. Look at the name of this next chapter. Purgatory.
Dude, I knew it. I fucking would have guessed that real. Yes! Dude.
So,
I was like, this is, what, do you remember that movie was like The Others or something?
Yeah.
That's what I was like, this is the twist, where they do the seance and it turns out that you're the ghost communicating, not the other way around.
Yep. I was so heartbroken reading this, sobbing.
Yeah.
For this woman.
Yeah.
I felt so
murdered.
Bad for her. Aidan died. Michael killed him before he killed me.
But so did Michael kill him because they
so
were
now
having
I'm just
an
like
affair?
this love story. They're
Yeah.
never gonna. Okay,
But
so
were they, like they were having an affair? Is that what was going on?
Nope.
Oh my god. Why did Michael kill him?
Purgatory. Okay, so now I'm gonna just kind of read my notes to you, not so much these thing. The quote here says, "Even in the grave, all is not lost." Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh.
Everything that happened with Aiden did happen.
Okay.
The timeline was blurry. The past, the present, memories, and facts had all been blurred for her as she was trapped in this realm, unable to cross over.
That makes sense. Time was definitely weird through the whole book.
So he did come to fix her roof. They did have that argument, but it was when she was alive.
And she was married.
And she was separated from Michael.
Oh, he had left.
She actually met Aiden when Michael and her were separated. He was beating her for years. And one day, finally, when she was 7 months pregnant with their son, he beat the shit out of her so bad that the baby died inside her. And she left him.
Fuck Michael.
He wouldn't leave her alone after she left him and started seeing Aiden, the light of her life.
Yes, Master Sir.
There's a flashback of them in Aiden's... I'm going to cry.
Okay. You are crying.
I was just like, I want them to be together so bad.
Well, they were together.
I know.
And they'll be together on the other side.
Okay, so hold on.
No, we're showing this.
No, you're getting it out.
She feels, everyone. Look at her feel.
I do have feelings. Okay, there's a flashback of them together at Aiden's apartment reading the Divine Comedy, which the character is Dante Alighieri. In Purgatory, we get... By the way, in the whole book, we don't get anything out of Aiden's perspective. Until in Purgatory, we get Aiden's perspective. So yes, that all happens. We're realizing that lines were blurred.
Yeah.
She's remembering that Michael beat her. She left him because he killed her kid.
Yeah.
And then she met Aiden. And then in that moment, right before we get to this Aiden chapter, the doorbell rings and snaps her out of it.
Yeah.
And she walks over to the door, opens it, and Aiden is standing there.
And it's Aiden.
Yes. And then...
Because he's here to rescue her from Purgatory and take her to the other side, where they can live happily forever.
Yep. And then we get a flashback at what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They were at her house, her and Aiden.
Yeah.
And they were going to take... It was New Year's Eve. They were going to take the boat out for a...
little spin
thing and watch fireworks.
Yeah.
You know. And as she's getting the boat ready, she's like, wait, where's Aiden? Why is it so quiet? And she turns around and there's Michael in a trench coat and a hat with a gun pointed at Aiden in the backyard. And so there's this whole thing.
He's
like
the smiling man.
Put it down, like put the gun down,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And then Michael like turns to Kayla and puts the gun on her and walks over there and is like in her face with the gun. And Aiden's like, just if you need to kill someone, just fucking kill me.
Yeah.
And Kayla's like, no, don't do it. And then Michael turns, and it is in great detail and made me sob even more, and just shoots Aiden in the head right between his fucking eyes. And she said his head flung back with the force of 1,000 whatever, and he just laid there on the ground, gone, instantly dead.
Snatched out of her life immediately.
Yep.
Dead.
And then she's like, what did you do?
He wouldn't be dead if he had never met her.
Michael comes over to her and is like, you both can't fucking live. Takes her over to the water, drowns her, and as he's drowning her, that nickel falls out and lands on her. And so that's how the nickel kind of was making its presence.
Yeah.
Aiden was trying to remind her. So anyway... when I open my eyes, nothing looks the same. The walls are painted a different color. The carpet's been replaced by hardwood. Yeah. Everything's different. The storm has ceased. Everything is still beyond the living room windows. Dawn spreads, glimmering light over the yard. I hear birds chirping. I smell springtime in the air. And I marvel in the beauty of it all. The doorbell rings. I move toward the front door, compelled by a force of gravity. It's unstoppable. I turn the knob, pull the door open, and I find Aiden standing right there on the porch, and he's drenched in golden sunlight, smiling as if I'm the first sunrise he's ever seen. Hey, did you miss me? I fall into his arms. His embrace is sweeter than 1,000 kisses, better than a million wishes, more perfect than a dream could ever be. You found me, I say, sobbing. I never lost you. Who do you think has been ringing this doorbell the whole time? I bury my face in his neck. I'm sorry, I didn't know, I couldn't see, I was so confused. He goes, it's okay. I told you I'd wait forever if I had to.
Oh, it is sweet. That's a tearjerker.
Wasn't that a good one?
That's such a good one. That is a 5-star. It was dark, and it was sad and gloomy and droomy, but sexy and hot, and it all comes together sweetly at the end.
Do you want to know what the epilogue is?
Yeah. They're in heaven.
The epilogue is an interview
What?
Transcribed from the notes and session of session
seance?
recording of March 16th, conducted by Dr. Patrick Templeman, forensic psychologist with Michael Reese, currently awaiting trial on charges of first-degree murder.
Yes.
So, right before then, after her and Aiden have their we're together, thank God, they start joking around. And she goes, "Why did you postmark all the letters from prison? What was that clue about?"
Yeah.
He goes, "That was more of a clue about the future." "What do you mean?" "Washington State Penitentiary is where a certain asshole is being held on charges of double murder. I've been thinking, we should pay him a visit."
Ooh, spooky. We're gonna go haunt together.
Then,
this is perfect.
Then he takes my face in his hands and kisses me. His lips I taste forever. That and something almost as sweet. Revenge.
Oh.
The epilogue is this psychiatrist sitting in an office with Michael, her husband.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, double murder.
She's like, "As you're aware, Mr. Reese, my objective is to determine your current mental capacity to stand trial as ordered. The court can kiss my ass and so can you. It's Dr. Reese." He's just a fucking smug piece of shit.
Jesus Christ.
So then at the very end, Dr. Templeman, do you regret what happened? I regret that you're wasting my time with this ridiculous line of questioning. Physician's note, patient displays traits of narcissistic personality disorder.
Obviously.
Dr. Templeman, do you understand that if your case does proceed to trial and you're convicted, you may be facing life in prison with the possibility of no parole? What? No, that's not right. It was clearly self-defense. What are you talking about? Michael goes, "Listen, I've had enough of this. Yes, go on." Physician's note, patient is fixating on a spot on the wall, becoming unresponsive. He appears to be in extreme distress. Mr. Reese? Oh, God. Oh, my God. Mr. Reese?
Oh.
Physician's note, patient is screaming, attempts to exit the interview room, pounds on the door, visible panic. Mr. Reese, what's wrong? It's her and him both. They're staring at me. You don't see them? They're right fucking behind you in this room with us. And so now they're haunting Michael.
That's so sweet.
Is that what you thought was going to happen? So it was a bait and switch.
It was a bait and switch. I mean, it definitely it was probably halfway through that I was like, I think she's dead.
Yeah.
I think but I didn't know if it was going to be
that among with that, or she's crazy.
I was like, yeah, it's either she's crazy or she's dead. But there was something, I don't know, the time stuff. I was like, I think she's dead. I think this is fucking the others or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, that was good. And I definitely didn't think that Dante was going to be Aiden though. That I did not pick up on. I thought that it was going to be Dante's Inferno, we're calling you to hell type of thing.
Yeah.
You're in purgatory, but I'm going to come. And yeah.
Pretty good.
That was good. I get that. 5 star.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because it's the pen pal, it really wasn't that much about the pen paling.
You are taking words out of everybody's mouth. So what I do when I read these books is I read them and I don't read reviews. I don't watch any TikToks about them.
Yeah.
And then the second I'm done, I'll get on TikTok and I see what people are saying about it.
Yeah.
This one, it's all the TikToks are women which I have 5 saved up to send you, by the way.
Yeah.
Crying. They're reading it. They're crying.
They're sobbing.
And then they're like, you fucking read the back of this. And you're like, I know what this is about. It's a guy.
It's a prison pen pal. He's going to surprise her.
And they're like, who's going to tell me that this was not, this is a supernatural thriller. This was a supernatural thriller with smut in it.
Yeah.
And everyone's just up in arms. They're like, the pen pal thing wasn't even in here. There's 5 letters.
It's I get it's what are you going to name this book? And you definitely didn't want to in any way, because it is, you can tell they're holding off that reveal, but they're clearly sprinkling out clues that are just
yes.
What?
Right.
You're just whatting all the time?
I was the whole time I was like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, what? And then, but there's a group of people out there, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be judgmental. I think they're idiots.
Yeah.
They're like, the marketing of this book, why would you it's just say you can't handle a little bit of plot.
I guess, yeah.
It's they're pissed off that this is what the cover looks like.
And it wasn't more about
They're like, this looks like a dark romance. Everyone's like, I thought this was a mafia romance or something.
Well, whatever, read the back. Oh, I guess the back.
It sounds like a mafia. Yeah.
I mean, it could be a mafia romance.
Doesn't make this a bad book.
Whatever. Sorry. Sucks to suck.
And then there's some bitches out there that are like, this isn't an HEA. This is not a happily ever after. And the author was like,
not a happily ever
the author was like, I told everyone when I released this book that it was going to be an unconventional HEA.
Yeah.
There are people out there that can't handle.
Well, some people have such a narrow view of what happiness can be that you can't find beauty in darkness.
They're now spending eternity together.
Yeah, they're happy forever. They found each other forever. They don't even have to be alive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? No rent, no food.
Right. They're haunting Michael.
Yeah, and then what? Then they have the whole rest of eternity to do whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Right? It was
fun. And I do love Aiden.
Love Aiden.
And I do love Aiden.
He was so nice to her,
Yeah, I knew, especially like the real giveaway for me was when the little kid was there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that kid's not dead.
The kid's not
The
dead.
kid's not dead.
Right.
She is dead.
Like the man in the trench coat could be a ghost.
Yeah, man in the trench coat, I was like, maybe that has something to do with like the Dante thing, and maybe he's here to collect her soul because she's like, she's not moving on.
Yeah.
And he's like a Grim Reaper.
The
and
kid.
I was like, maybe he's Dante. But then the kid thing, I was like, you're alive and
yeah,
you're seeing a ghost.
I saw in you when you knew it was when I said that there's a kid out in the backyard playing.
Yeah. Well, and then, because I was like, she didn't have a kid, and this house is not hers anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, that was for sure. And then when they had the part with the kid where he looked up and screamed, I was like,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This is for sure she's dead.
Yep.
Good, though. That was good. It was full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
Oh, Kate Siegel.
With this guy.
With that guy. I could see it, and they could walk off together.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It is a good one. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
But do you hate me for making you, like, bite your tongue?
Well, I mean, it was hard. But I'm glad because
okay.
the payoff at the end was big.
Yeah.
That was big.
Yeah.
That was good.
All right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our next book?
I don't know.
Just pick one. You don't have to have read it yet. We're not going to film again for 100 years.
Let's do one called The Director.
The Director. I don't know where I want to go with it. I don't want to do like another film one. We already did that.
Right. Well, what else can you direct?
I know what else can you direct.
I guess you could be the director of like a
HR
community center or something. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, you think you're onto something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the director is a enemies to lovers story.
Cool.
About a British special agent.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about? Like that M something.
MI6?
Yeah, MI6 agent, right?
Cool. Ooh, love that. Like the director of the CIA or something. But the director
she
of the
has
MI6.
just been promoted to like head director of MI6.
Whoa.
And
into that.
They are hunting and obviously I'm doing a little bit of a ripoff of like Killing Eve.
Oh, okay.
A little bit here.
Okay, I was going to say James Bond.
I'll acknowledge that.
Oh, that's perfect. Love Killing Eve.
And so it's like, lady director, she just gets promoted to the like head. She's like the director of the secret
she's gonna have an affair
spy,
with a bad guy.
Whatever.
She's not going to know it's a bad guy. Sorry, now I'm guessing.
Well, yeah. So basically it's like boom, boom, boom. She's just been directed or sent as the director. And she's fucking got to prove herself, and she's definitely kind of busted into a boys' club, and they're not fucking happy about it. But she's smart, and beyond being smart, she's a tested field agent. She's been out there. She's seen shit. She's killed people. She's like crazy. But she retired because of an injury. She's got a bum leg now.
Okay.
And then so she gets her first, or not first, but they're like, this is our top priority right now, is that there is an international assassin that must be found. And like we just figured out even that we could link all these deaths together to think that there was an assassin.
Okay.
And it's because the assassin is codenamed the Director.
Ooh.
Because the assassin, as far as they can tell, has never bloodied their hands themselves. They have set intricate things and to happen, a chain of events that ends with someone else dying? Like a civilian person.
Oh, a civilian.
Like accidentally killing someone.
He's directing deaths.
Yeah, he's like, I know that if I sabotage like this door and this thing fails and this thing fails, then like this forklift operator's not going to see the target coming out and gets crushed by a crate.
That's interesting.
And so it's like, they took a long time, but they're like, there's no way that all these accidents keep happening to the heads of states or all these like targeted people. What's going on?
Bankers. And
they're like, clearly, like, we just like, there's a pattern here, and it's like her job to figure it out.
Wow.
So then she gets.
It'd be a tough job.
Tough job. But that's kind of her thing, is that she's analytical and she pieces things together. Whatever, Yeah. That's her whole thing. So then she has to start hunting them. And, among this whole thing, while she's, like, hunting, there's, like, new agent that's been brought on, like, a younger guy. Like, she's maybe in her late 40s. This guy's probably he's, like, I'm going to say, like, 32, 33.
Okay.
Like, he's just kind of, even for that age, like, him to be working directly with the director is like impressive.
Okay.
But it is his like analytical mind. Like he's kind of like weird, almost autistic savant of how he sees things and puts things together. So he's been rushed onto this team with her to be like, we got to put this, you know.
It's a reverse age gap story?
Yeah.
Love
and
that.
So they're working long nights. You know how it goes. They're chasing leads, whatever. And, you know, over a box of takeout.
For sure.
A
Chinese.
A takeaway. A Chinese takeaway. They start fucking.
Okay.
And then so this whole time
Love
they
a reverse
start
age
this,
gap.
like, you know, hot, steamy, sexy affair. They're staking things out. But the whole time, you know, they're fucking hunting down, trying to figure things out. Like, looking for even scenarios that could happen. Like, they're starting to, like, try to, like, how would we direct a death if we were going to do it? Like, what would it take? And then they eventually, like, they're fucking like crazy. And they're like, their big plan is, like, they're going to take a hit out on someone, on a fake target. And it's going to be, like, it's a job that can only be done by, like, the director is their plan. So they've spent, you know, this, like, past 6-8 months figuring out what exactly, like, it would take for him to be the specific person that would have to kill who they're looking for. And so the whole, like, book is going to come to a point where they're like, we're fucking putting on our show and we're directing this, and it's playing out. And so they've got shit playing out, their fake targets out, and then other things are going wrong. So clearly someone else has influence. It's like they're both plans versus plans, basically, is what's going on. And then it's all gonna peak and come to a point where it's like, like, we've got him, this has got to be the guy, like, whatever reveal the mask or whatever, and it's like just some dude, and they're like, wait, what's going on? And then the young guy's gonna step over and be like, I was the director the whole time, and my real target's you. Of course. Because you've been too good at, like,
and now you're dead.
And now you're dead, and he's gonna kill her in the end.
But does he kill her in the end, or does he, like, does. He's gotten feelings for her, though?
Well, yeah, but he'll just be like, it's such a rush to have almost met my match. Boom.
Still kills her. Yeah. Wow.
He's the director.
Not an HEA in that one.
No. That's what I think the director's about.
That's fun. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out. We'll find out next year.
I did read the back. I did read the back of it.
Well, as we've learned from this book, the back can be misleading. True. You can be totally lost.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
that's
it.
That's another episode.
It sure is. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.